This is Ron Klopfenstein. Meet me in the hot seat every Monday at 5 p.m. for Hot Seat Media Mondays on 95.5 FM, The Heat. And you're in the hot seat on a Media Monday. We want to welcome everyone who's streaming the video of this broadcast on 955 on Facebook Live. And I was going to say, as well as our audio streaming audience at 955theheat.com, but that is down right now. Had some power issues here, but we also want to welcome those of you listening to this broadcast on 95.5 FM The Heat. Tonight, we're going to take you to the Oneida County NAACP's Black History Month celebration. We're also going to meet Emily Hansen, the Quilty Witch. But first, Jen Rizzio is known on social media as JenX. I love that name, JenX. I'm JenX. She's an artist, writer, and entertainer. Now, she's JenX with a J. I'm JenX with a G, Generation X. She's also a linguist, and she's created a series on YouTube called Curious About Welsh. She joins us now in the studio. Jen, I'm curious about Welsh. So my first question to you is, you know, with every language, I think every language has something in the language that can only be expressed in that language, only be conveyed. So what is something that is conveyed or that's expressed in Welsh that you feel like that you best do it in Welsh, or can only do it in Welsh?
Well, first I want to say thank you for having me on your show.
Thanks for being here. I'm so excited to talk to a linguist.
I'm so excited. I'm actually not a linguist. I'm more of a language enthusiast.
Well, that's kind of the same thing.
Just so I don't overstate. As far as Welsh goes, there's this concept called hiraeth. I think I pronounced that right. Mm-hmm. And it is like a sense of longing. And it's one of those Welsh words that doesn't really translate well into English. Hiraeth is like a sense of longing for a place that you never really knew, I guess. It's like a sense of not really fitting in a way.
That's interesting. Do you feel like that about Wales? Do you feel like you long for it a bit?
I want to move there so badly. It's so beautiful. It's one of those Celtic countries you don't hear about as often as their beautiful Celtic cousins like Ireland and Scotland.
Right,
you go to a bookstore and you don't see a lot of books on Welsh. You don't hear about Wales, and people don't always know where it is. They either think it's in England or they think of like the animal Wales. I'm like, it's a Celtic country and it's absolutely beautiful. They've got more castles per capita than I believe any other country in Europe. So land of dragons, castles, and song.
That's nice because, you know, when people think of Wales, they often think of it as the tragedies like coal mine disasters and really the hardship of life in Wales. But you know, I'm sure there's such a beautiful side to it too as well. Well, what are some of the beautiful things about Welsh culture?
Well, I absolutely adore the language. It's very beautiful. And I love I actually can speak some of the language if it's okay if I say a few words.
We're looking forward to hearing that.
Oh, diolch yn fawr, which means thank you very much. Jen dwi. Jen dwi. I'm Jen.
Jen.
Yn byw in Utica. I live in Utica. Dwi'n siarad 7 iaith. I speak 7 languages.
Wow.
Some better than others. Dwi'n siarad Cymraeg a 6 arall. I speak Welsh and 6 other languages. And I want to say to all your listeners, sut a'ch chi? How are you?
So those languages, are they other languages that are Celtic languages that you speak?
I actually speak some German. I speak a little bit of Hebrew. I went to Israel twice in 1992.
Gosh.
I speak a little bit of Russian because I have a friend from Belarus. I speak some Spanish, some Italian. I think I'm forgetting something here.
Now, Welsh is because it's a Celtic language, it's very different than English, even though it's next door to England, part of the UK, of course, and stuff. But it has its own distinct. One of the characteristics I associate with Welsh are words that are very, very long. And I'm looking at your shirt, and your T-shirt has a very long shirt that curls up and around. Is it the Dragon of St. George?
That is the longest place name in all of Europe, and it's actually a descriptive name. Llanfair Pwllgwyngyll is the actual name of the town.
Okay.
And in the late 1800s, somebody decided to give it this extended, descriptive, or archival name, Llanfair Pwllgwyngyll to attract people to the village, essentially.
So in the name, it describes, it has like kind of like the noun and some adjectives put together.
Yeah, it describes the area around the town, like Sandbad is St. Mary. The part at the end is actually Ogogoch.
Yeah.
It means the Red Cave. Santacilio is Saint Cecilio, so it describes like the area. Rapid whirlpools on here.
Wow. So are most words in Welsh like equally long and equally descriptive? So that's just kind of like a...
yes, but not so long.
Not necessarily as long.
No, that came from a viral video.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, there's a viral video where a gentleman, a weather forecaster, they call him meteorology or met presenter, his name is Liam Dutton, said this town name, and I was not doing well. I was in the hospital, unfortunately, in Chicago. I have a brain disease with no cure.
Really?
And so I have neurological problems. Thank you. And I had heard this town name on a viral video, and I loved it so much, I immediately wanted to learn Welsh. It was just like that. The sound was so cool. I was just drawn to it.
So is that what drew that is what drew you to Welsh?
That is what drew me to Welsh. It was during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I was in the hospital, not with COVID, but with from my brain disease.
So you were talking earlier about how like your love of Welsh and your interest in Wales and the culture, how that's really sustained you and like helped you through some hard times in your life.
It has.
Can you talk a bit about that?
Let's just say my brother and I have seen some things, and my brother's no longer here, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah.
And he was a great guy, and thank you. My doctor feels that my neurological disease is rooted in trauma. Mm-hmm. You don't have to have been in the military to have PTSD. All forms of PTSD are valid. Thank you. And my doctor feels my disease is rooted in trauma, and speaking Welsh not only helps me with my PTSD, but it also helps me with rewire my brain. I feel like it's given me new hope. It's helped me rewire my brain, and it's just a lot of fun. And they did biofeedback, and if you don't know what that is, it's when they hook you up to like some wires that in this case, we test ways to
brain waves.
Yeah, like brain waves, the tension in your head and your circulation, because the disease of mine is vascular related.
Okay.
And so they try to find ways to warm up your hand to increase your circulation, and find ways to reduce tension. And speaking Welsh and listening to Welsh were the first breakthrough I had in biofeedback.
Really? So what effect does it have on you physically then, and emotionally and mentally? You know,
it's just exciting. It's fun. I'm autistic. I'm an adult on the autism spectrum, and no, autism doesn't disappear when you turn age 18, but the services do. And I am an adult on the spectrum. And all it means is my brain works a little differently. Plus, I have ADHD, and my hyperfixation or special interest is languages. And so my favorite thing is the Welsh language and all the sounds that go into it. And like, I'm just a sound person. I'm a musician. And I sing, and I love to perform. I was interviewed by a entertainer called Kathy B on a show called the Anti-Social Show, Anti like Auntie, Social like Michelle. It's on YouTube. Okay. I was interviewed on her show last year, and now I got to work for her part-time doing some marketing.
Good for you.
Thank you. It's like led to things. So she discovered my
I
love
how art does that.
Thank you. Yeah, it connects people.
It does, yeah.
It does.
Now, how has your immersion into Welsh, how has it changed how has it influenced your art, your performance, your life?
Well, first, it's given me more confidence, like a lot more confidence.
I'll bet it has.
And it just gives me like a new sense of excitement I didn't have when I was really in the doldrums suffering. And I got the strength to break free from some very toxic people in my life and never go back. And sometimes you have to make that unfortunate choice. I was trauma bonded for almost 45 years to a certain blood relative, I'll just say, or two actually. And, going no contact with somebody is like changing the cat litter. You don't do it because you want to. Right, because you have to. Exactly. And I don't have a choice.
How has you becoming a Welsh speaker, someone who knows Welsh, how has it changed you as a person? Are you now stronger?
I'm a lot stronger, a lot more confident. I'm also a lot more relaxed. And I found a passion. They're trying to revive the language, because there was a push to almost remove the language and reduce it to something spoken at home but not spoken in the business world.
You mean in Wales?
In Wales, sorry. That I misspoke. I apologize. That was over in Wales.
You're making a really good point about how important it is to not let languages die, because when you do let languages die, part of the culture dies.
And the history.
And also the history too. What is some of the Welsh history that inspires you?
I love castles. I've loved castles ever since I was 4 years old. I mean,
really?
I love castles. I've always been into dragons, and
Yeah.
I love the history of the people, the history of the language, the history of the land, and medieval history. It's just the myths, and like, you'd be surprised how many things were influenced by Welsh. Like, one of the languages of Lord of the Rings, one of the Elven languages, was inspired by Welsh.
Interesting. Now, does Welsh have a rhythm that's different or unfamiliar or like novel compared to English?
It has sounds that don't exist in English.
What are some of those sounds?
Well, one of the sounds is the sound, the ch.
Okay. Oh, it's a ch, and it's like a like
It's like, it's like the sound you hear in like German and a whole bunch of other languages.
Right, yeah. Kind of like a guttural
back of
sound.
the throat sound, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I explain how to do that on my YouTube show, as well as the sound, which is, you hear it in Greenlandic, you hear it in, I think, Icelandic, you hear it in Welsh, and like some indigenous American languages too.
So the Welsh people, I would say, like, are hardy, because if they like similar to like Iceland, Greenland,
resilient is the term I would use.
Resilient. Oh, I like that. I like that.
And I'm very resilient. So maybe that's why I identify with the Welsh.
I was gonna say you would have to be, and from what you told me, you clearly are. Now, I'm sure this Welsh has made you like more resilient too.
I think it has.
How has it changed your art?
I think the art is a bit separate. I mean, I draw some of the art for my show.
Yeah.
But the art is more of my blog, which is one of my other outlets. I have a blog too, and I'm a writer, and I do write in Welsh.
Wow.
And I was awarded last year like third prize for a poem I wrote in Welsh. So for
good for you.
Any doubters out there that don't think autistic people can write poetry, think again.
Well, good for you. An autistic person who won third place with a poetry prize.
In Welsh.
Really, in Welsh.
In
too,
Welsh.
Of all things.
Thank you.
Would you like to recite some of that later on the show, or do you have any?
I don't have it in front of me.
Well,
but you know what? You can go to my YouTube channel, Curious About Welsh with JenX.
Tell me about that YouTube channel.
I love my YouTube channel.
I love YouTube. I love YouTube channels too. I got one too.
Thank you. I think I subscribe to yours. I think this channel's on here too. I have a YouTube channel called Curious About Welsh with JenX, and it's JenX with JenX, and I give like little explainers from a learner's perspective, because I'm not trained as a teacher, but I use my learning.
You're a learner, and
learned experience.
I always feel like what is a teacher, someone who teaches well, has the perspective of I'm going to learn, and the learner is a teacher. So you are
a Thank you.
So what do you teach on this channel?
I explain how to pronounce sounds like the sound, the sound. I give like little animal explainers. I'm an animal lover, so a lot of my videos star my little cat, my puffball, Becky. She's a 6-pound, long-haired calico cat, and she stars in a lot of my shows. So I'll teach how to say cat, or talk to your cat in Welsh, or like how to talk about the weather.
Interesting approach.
Thank you. Diolch yn fawr.
So some like conversational things.
Conversational things like how is the weather? Sut mae'r tywydd,
Yeah.
We could talk about weather all day, because my hi'n bwrw eira, it snows here,
How do you know what to include? Like what people should know? Like how do you decide?
I put out calls for requests.
That's a good way.
And you know what? You can go ahead and message me on YouTube and put in a request if you'd like, and I do my best to entertain
I like that, the interaction.
Yeah, I try to interact. I try to generate requests. I also do interviews. I reached out to a few people, and I interviewed Willem Hiraeth, who is a Welsh language folk singer, all in Welsh.
Do you feel that, because I think of myself, someone who's on the spectrum a bit too, and I definitely have the hyper-focus thing, like hyper-focus on this show and the promotion. You follow me on
That's
social
what I do
media.
with my YouTube. I worry that I over-promote it.
Well, I was going to say, because you follow me on social media, so I really focus on, and I love what you're doing too. And it's
Thank you.
I think that in some ways we should think of our being on the spectrum, we should think of it as like an asset.
Thank you.
I like
do
what
too.
you're doing. The
Positive. It's all it
really
means is our brain works a little differently. It's not a malfunction, just a different operating system.
And if you think about it, I mean, everyone's brain works differently too. So, like, I think sometimes we make too big of a deal about that we do things the way we do things.
Yeah, and this whole autism awareness tends to exclude adults on the spectrum.
Yes.
What about us? What about the rest of us? I mean,
right. Well, what about us? What about
I'm proud to be autistic. I mean, I have this hyperfixation where I can pick up languages like a child.
Good.
And somebody said it has to do with not having been pruned in that part of the brain. But
well, who wants to be pruned?
Yeah, who wants to be pruned? Let us do our own pruning.
And you know, it's not you picking up languages. You know, you study as a child. I think as a scholar, and I think that's an amazing thing. You know.
Thank you.
So, what are some other ways that, like, being on the spectrum has given you power? What are some other things that you're proud about?
I'm proud of, like, things I collect. For example, I collect metal objects. I don't know if you can see this thing.
Well,
this
you
is
can
my
describe
fidget spinner. Yeah, it's a round little circle, and it's got, like, numbers around it. And this is actually like a little counter. It's called a wheel, a disc. It's just called a disc or load disc. Not like a boot disc from a computer, but it's a disc from inside a mechanical electricity meter. And I collect textured metal objects. I also have fallout shelter signs and historic, like, almost like steampunk, you know?
I feel too, as an artist, too, like, everything that you collect, everything, but also, like, every idea, every word, every new sound, it, like, adds to, like, what you are, into, like, the complexity and the nuance of what you can produce.
Well, thank you. Diolch yn fawr. I'm a musician too. I do electronic stuff, and I remixed a song for an artist out in Germany.
I wanted to ask you about that.
Thank
Tell
you.
us a little bit. We're going to go to break soon. We're going to have more time with you, of course, later in the show. But before we go to break, can you tell us, like, what that song is, who the artist is?
The song is called No End, No Limit 2.0 JenX Remix, JenX Remix.
And so how can people hear that?
You could go on any of your streaming services, or you can buy it, you can download it, and the artist name is BPM, like beats per minute.
Well, it's amazing just like the variety of talents that you have, and I think it's so incredible, like, how all your talents come together and coalesce around things like Welsh, about music, and we're going to talk more about that when we come back from break. We're going to have Emily, but we'll talk to you later in the show. Tonight, let's see, we are going to. We're hanging out today. I lost the page of my script with Jen Rizzio. She's known on social media as JenX. She's an artist, a writer, entertainer. JenX is also a lover of language. She's created the series Curious About Welsh on YouTube. Also, when we come back, we're going to take you to the Oneida County NAACP's Black History Month celebration. We're going to meet Emily Hansen. She's a quilty witch. I'm Ron Klopfenstein, and you're on the hot seat on a Media Monday. I'll have more after the break. Hey everyone, welcome back to the hot seat on this Media Monday. I'm Ron Klopfenstein. We're hanging out today with Jen Rizzio. She's known on social media as JenX. She's an artist, writer, and entertainer. JenX is also a linguist, and she's created the series Curious About Welsh on YouTube. We're also going to be joined by Emily Hansen, the Quilty Witch. But first, 2026 marks the 100th anniversary of Black History Month. It first started in 1926 by Dr. Carter G. Woodson to honor the heritage and contributions of Black Americans. This year's Black History Month event reflects on 100 years of resilience, progress, and the enduring impact of Black culture. Locally, the Oneida County NAACP celebrated with an event at the Oneida County History Center that emphasized the importance of passing on the legacy of equality and achievement to the younger generation. Photojournalist and AI content producer Jim Hale and I were there, and we have this report. I'm Ron Klopfenstein at the Oneida County History Center in Utica, where the NAACP's Oneida County branch is celebrating Black History Month. This year's event honors and recognizes 100 years of inclusive and accurate African American history, with a special emphasis on the next generation. I'm with Jamel, and Jamel, your T-shirt is 100 years of celebrating Black history. Yeah. Now for you, you're at the kind of like the more recent end of those 100 years. What is Black history to you? Somebody who's how old are you?
22.
What is Black history to someone who's 22?
Black history to me is knowing of our ancestors from back in that paved the way for Black people to be known, for our pain to be shown, for our knowledge to be known, and for our gain to be gained as time goes. Because it's a process that our people is going through. Oppression, finding knowledge for ourselves, gaining knowledge of ourselves. It's a whole lot that we're trying to gain to the big, because it's a whole bunch of us, younger than me.
Let me start with you. What does Black History Month mean to you, and why are you here today?
Well, today we had a performance, that's why I'm here. And I want older people to know that it's okay to be white or black, because people should be both colors.
Good for you. And you have some friends here today. Is this your sister? I was gonna say you look very familiar. So why are you here today?
The same. I want to let people know that you're okay if you're any color. Like, you shouldn't be racist.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. Let me ask you the same question.
Yeah, I'm here because I'm performing. And basically what they said, it doesn't matter if you're black or white, and yeah, don't be racist.
Are you having a good time here today?
Yes, I'm having a very fun time.
I'm going to ask some of your friends the same question. I'm going to ask you the same question. What's your name?
My name's Jazari.
Jazari, and why are you here today? And what does Black History Month mean to you? And what would you like people to know about what this is all about?
So I also had a performance, and I want people to know, I want younger people than me to understand that they should express their culture, and it's not something to be embarrassed about.
Great. And so how do you feel when you're expressing your Black culture?
It makes me feel good, and it makes me feel confident.
We're actually celebrating 100 years of celebrating Black history, right?
Yeah.
Because Black history is way older than 100 years, right? And so in that, I wanted to highlight honoring leaders, dreamers, and change makers. We even have some local names on here to get a shirt.
Like
you'll be able to see.
Oh, yeah, what's the deal?
Nancy is on here.
Yeah.
Reverend Upgrove is on here. Cal L. Crone is on here.
Oh, I'm here because I signed up for this because I thought it would be a good opportunity to share what Black history means to more than one race, because most people think Black history is just for Black people, but I think it could be for anybody. And
whenever an elder passed, it's like a library.
Yeah.
And
now
down.
you're one of the elders.
I am now one of the elders,
right.
And we need to bridge the gap. And there needs to be questions asked to the elders, and that's why it was important for me to name some of the local people on the shirt, because whenever we get an opportunity to sit down and talk with them, let's ask them those questions.
What are some of the questions that you ask when you sit down and talk to some of the local people who are older than you about the movement, about the 100 years? What are some of the questions that you've asked?
Well, I'm really intrigued to find out like what it was like growing up during the time where there was a lot more opposition to what we're facing right now.
Yeah.
What did that do for your self-esteem? How did you keep pushing forward? Family structure. So I'm not native to Utica. I'm from downstate, but one thing I noticed about Utica is that everybody's family structure was the glue, right? So everybody knew each other. Like my husband always talks about, this family down on this street, that family, and I'm like, that is amazing to me because I didn't grow up like that.
Yeah.
But I know that it's so much power in having that connection from back then, where everybody knew each other. You went outside to play.
Community.
Yes, you went outside to play. It was a village thing.
Yeah.
You went outside to play, and you knew if you did something wrong, auntie, uncle, somebody was going, even if they wasn't your biological, right? And it was a sense of feeling protected too.
Yeah.
Now we don't really. We're so fragmented. We don't really have that. So I would love for the children to understand that, family matters, but not just the family that's in your home, but the extended family. If we could just figure out how.
Your community.
Yeah, how to be a community and work together.
Yeah. The speakers tonight talked about youth and about the importance of like teaching youth about this stuff. You know, you're obviously working with younger kids too. Why is that so important?
It's important so we can know where we're headed, where we have to head.
Yeah.
Because it's not a whole bunch of our people gaining this knowledge. So getting that out there to be known, it could gain a lot.
What would you like younger Black people, maybe kids who aren't here today, what would you most like them to know?
That we're loved. We are loved. And the true definition of love is finding peace within all of our people for better days to come about. So yeah, finding better days.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Thanks. Black History Month is in February, but the Oneida County NAACP plans events all year long. In Utica, I'm Ron Klopfenstein for 95.5. I have that story streaming tonight. We'll have that story streaming tonight at 7 o'clock. You'll be able to find it on my YouTube channel, TikTok, Instagram accounts, and on my Facebook page, facebook.com/Ron Klopfenstein. Plus, we're going to have this entire episode of Hot Seat Medium One Day streaming Wednesday night at uticaphoenix.net/Medium One Day. The Quilty Witch is an artisan micro brand based in central New York. It was founded by Emily Hansen. Quilty Witch specializes in handmade quilted textiles and herbal bath and home products designed to infuse everyday life with comfort, beauty, and a touch of ritual. Emily Hansen is the Quilty Witch. She joins us now in the studio, and you brought actually a quilted witch hat, and that's where it all began, right?
It did. It all began there. It began, and thank you all for having me.
Happy to have you.
It began last fall. I had a friend of mine reach out and sent me a TikTok and said, "Hey, can you make this?" Mm-hmm. And I said, "Sure. How do you want it?" And from there, this hat, actually, I repurposed materials from Utica Creative Reuse.
Oh, we love them.
So,
we just did a story on them, yeah.
It's all interconnected in the city, right?
That's our favorite art supply store.
Yeah, and it started from there. So I made a hat, and then I went to a workshop at The Alchemist.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we love them too.
Know, right?
Yes, Mackenzie.
Exactly, Mackenzie O'Grady. And that was the night that I had two different friends from two different factions of my life. Both ran out of spoons, and my husband said, "Go, enjoy your night."
Yep.
And I was sitting there looking around and saying, "Well, a hat would look really cool hanging off that wall." And I went up to Mackenzie and said, "What do you think?" And she said, "Bring me a hat." So I did, and from there I got into Sister Spell Company out in Canastota, which just opened.
I didn't know about that. We'll have to go out there and do a story.
Yeah, they're really great out there. Janelle's wonderful. And then from there, it became, I have a friend who owns Something Beautiful Salon in Utica. She carries my products, and a store out in Amsterdam called The Nook. So all of these things, and through community, right? This weekend, I was just at the Recycling and Style Artisan Pop-Up Market.
Oh, I saw that on Facebook.
And that was my first in-person, right?
Yeah.
But that was out of community. Jill was throwing together an event, we chatted, and it came from there.
So what was it like to have your first in-person event? Like where you met people that were buying your stuff, looking at your stuff?
It was very interesting because I grew up in this world. So my grandmother was a gardener, and she made jam, and she sewed, and she had a roadside farm stand. I live in Marcy, and I grew up not very far from Candelas.
Yeah.
So my mother and my Candela were friends doing the stuff back in the day.
So you grew up making stuff?
I grew up making stuff. My mother was a
sewer. I really
sewer.
like that.
Yeah.
I love that kind of thing.
My mother's business was called Emily's House as a kid, which, trust me, I did not live down with my family, to the family. But so this all kind of morphed into this idea of how this intergenerational part of making came to be, right?
How did that? How did what are other ways to the generations? Was it passed down from your grandmother to you?
Growing up, it was very ritual based without being called that.
Okay.
Meaning that my mother would make quilts for people when they had babies or got married.
Oh, yeah.
Right? If you didn't have a baby or get married, you were totally out of luck.
You were
Maybe if you went to college. College often got a quilt in our family. But it came from there, and then as I've grown, I used to teach classes at Joann's years ago. I've been a stand-in resident teacher at Tiger Lily Quilt Company for the past decade. So I have an education background in teaching. So I taught sewing, and I've taught quilting, and I've taught cricket classes.
Okay.
So I've done these things, for friends and for family, and for small commissions here and there. Maybe it's a funny baby onesie for a friend.
Right.
Or it's a baby quilt, or it's a
like
set
a
of
special request.
a special request, right? My husband's always finding a shirt and saying, "Can you make it, but make it like this for me?" Right. And my son, when it was hat day in the fall, he had me make him a Buffalo Bills witch's hat that he wore to school,
cool.
right? So it came from this place of people were asking me, and why not try more? And why not? My husband also put a little bit of an embargo. He's like, "Can you stop making quilts? We have so many quilts. We're running out of room. Try something else." And that's where the variety comes in.
Now, a lot of people don't have quilts. So, like, what is a quilt for people that don't know what one is?
So the history of quilts. I'm glad you brought that up because as you were running the last segment, I was thinking.
Like if you know, you know. But if you don't know, you may not have any idea. Like, what quilts, what that means, quilt. So except the toilet paper. I was thinking of quilt in Northern.
But the idea, right? So, like, quilting is a process.
It shows you what it is, though.
Yeah, it is. It's the process of basically stabbing fabric, of layers of fabric, and weaving them together with thread.
And, like, is there always stuffing in the middle?
Not always. I mean, sometimes there's summer quilts, and if you go way back.
You don't want it to be too heavy.
Well, yeah, there could be summer quilts for different uses, different types of materials inside, and you go way back. Quilts have been a art form of resistance and community and communication. From your last segment about Black History Month in terms of the freedom quilts during the Civil War and how they were modalities of communication,
like maps up with slaves on it,
and just different quilt blocks would signify different things.
Right, and
there's a language behind
that. They're made of stuff that people own. Too,
exactly,
so
they were bits and fragments of things. So whether it was during the Civil War era or during the early 19th century and 20th century and women's suffrage. Quilts of resistance in that respect too. Right?
How so? I didn't know about
Munson did a gallery a couple years ago about the textiles and using that as art in modern day. Right, there's local folks who Kirkland Arts Center hosts folks who come in and talk about quilts of resistance.
Interesting.
And quilts as art. So quilting is a part of the cultural fabric. And I know it's punny, but it really it impacts all parts of the world. Every culture has had their own form of finding a way to keep warm.
And in some ways, it gives it more meaning because, like, it's made out of other stuff that people already had. I would think.
Yeah,
like there's something about that makes it more like warm and like heart-centered.
Absolutely, I try really hard to source my products locally and ethically. I go to Utica Creative Use a lot, but also Tiger Lily Quilt Company in terms of finding local products and supporting small businesses because it's part of that really interconnected.
Right. Your art and like your works and a lot of like intentionality to it, like in terms of this where you get it from, in terms of like what you make. It also looks in terms of how you present it. It looks very magical there with like the bags and the stars and stuff. Is that important to you too?
It is. I come from a lineage of Polish and Italian, and I know a little bit about my Italian side.
Yeah.
They came to America. My great grandparents won a lottery and got on the boat, and from there.
Yeah.
But
good for them.
I know, right? I mean, opportunity,
right.
and it was a different
all
time.
about,
and it was wonderful. It was beautiful, and my grandmother's side, my mother's side, my maternal, she was born here, and I don't know how they came to be here.
Right.
But and I say that because that intentionality comes from honoring what came before.
Right.
And it comes from honoring that my mother was a crafty person. And even though she denied any witchiness, my grandmother had stories of using eggshells and could see things.
Yeah.
And I was telling y'all before,
it was more a normal part of life.
It was a normal part of life. It was, and I say that because
people didn't like try to shut it out because they just like accepted it.
No, it was part of the culture.
Folklore and culture.
If you go back historically, I also teach a book class at The Alchemist on the book Heal the Witch Wound by Celeste Larson. And if you go back to the burning times in that part of Europe, me personally, I'm like, I wonder what part, I know what part of Poland she came from, but why did they come?
Exactly.
And what was from there?
Right.
So when I was...
There's massive oppression,
so much.
And kind of like all the oppression that women suffered as a whole, collectively, was like so much intensified in people that had those abilities and interests, and that were smart too.
And healers, yes. People who were healers.
Right, because the power is what when we on it. So we'll talk more about that after the break today. We're hanging out today with Emily Hansen. She's a Quilty Witch. When we come back, we'll be rejoined by JenX, the creator of the YouTube series Curious About Welsh. I'm Ron Klopfenstein, and you're in the hot seat on a Medium Monday. I'll have more after the break. This is Ron Parkinson, and you're in the hot seat on Media Monday. Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. On the next Hot Seat Media Monday, we'll be hanging out with Sisters in Motion and Brothers in Motion. We featured them in a story about their unique mix of movement and mental health. We're looking forward to having them in the studio. That'll be right here, Monday, February 16th. Also, author Pete Coulter is going to be back. This is going to be his last appearance for a while. He's going to go into seclusion and work in some he's going to write some more books. He's already had 3 out, so he's going to I can imagine doing more than 3 books in a year, but he's probably going to be able to do 6. So he's going to tell us all about that. He'll be here next Monday too. So don't miss Hot Seat Media Monday every week at 5 p.m. right here on 95.5 FM The Heat. Tonight, we're hanging out with artist, writer, and entertainer JenX, who created that web series Curious About Welsh, and Emily Hansen. She's a Quilty Witch. So let me ask you both. You both are keeping, ancient traditional art forms, languages, ideas, cultures alive. Quilting, making your own stuff, making your own bath stuff, making your own stuff to clean with. You with the languages, JenX. What is why is it so important to keep that kind of stuff alive?
For me, it's the storytelling. It's that idea of storytelling through ritual, right? That the world is really heavy.
Yeah.
And I have 2 young boys, 2 school-age kids, and this idea of finding flow, whether it's building Legos, which I'm not very good at, or finding some kind of craft to do to get you in a place where you're creating joy. Because joy is super hard to feel, right?
Right.
And I will say at Christmas time or the holidays, my son came to me and said, my student teacher is leaving, can I make her a book pouch? And he's 9, and he was quilting it, and he looked at me, he's like, all right, I get why you like this. This is pretty fun.
Wow, that's really great.
So being able to carry that on to younger generations, for me, it's that, and we talked earlier in the show, it's a way to find healing.
Yes,
it's a way to work through some of the things, to be in my own thoughts, to be in my own safety.
Right. That's what media is for me too. It's keeps me busy. I'm always doing stuff. Jen, you were talking about how a hobby is good for that, and I think these things that we do kind of keep us sane.
I agree with what Emily said. It's a great outlet. These times that we're living in right now are not normal, and I think having more hobbies, the better. And it's a great way to express yourself, to channel your frustrations, and just have fun. And if there's something you've always wanted to try and you've been either putting it off or you regret not having tried it, I just say go for it. And if your friends give you a hard time about it, they're not your friends. They're not your friends.
And what I find too is whenever you try something new, there's always a certain percentage of people, sometimes it's a lot if it's a really new thing, who aren't going to understand and at first will kind of look down on it. But then it's kind of you just have to shut that out and think that a lot of people don't try stuff because they're afraid. They're afraid. So it's not really that they're it feels like them putting you down, and they kind of are, but they're really just scared, and they're so be proud of that you're doing something that other people are scared to do.
Oh, I can definitely agree with that, and I appreciate you mentioning that. I think people sometimes deal with their own insecurities, and that's on them. But hobbies you're not gonna get fluent in any language overnight. And instead of complaining about it, just put the work in.
Right.
And certain people I've had to go no contact with. One of them actually was a languages major and actually worked as a teacher for 1 year. Wow. And this particular person is one of the people I had to go no contact with because.
Well, there's other people I think that don't.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is they tried to blame not getting into a certain school they wanted on the equal opportunity. I'm like, no, your grades weren't there. Your grades weren't there. And they complain, well, you have the talent. I'm like, well, I'm putting in the effort. This is a daily effort for me.
It's a lot of work, and I'm sure the same is true for you too, Emily. How do you bring intentionality and tell stories with the bath products and cleaning stuff?
No, and thank you for that. So I had the good fortune when I lived in South Florida for 7-8 years, and I studied medicinal herbology with the South Florida Renaissance Festival's resident apothecary. And it was a big time of transition in my life and a time of healing. And he was like Dumbledore and I was like Hermione.
Wow.
And it was beautiful. And my husband and I always talked about putting something together, and then life happened.
Yeah.
So intentionality now comes from, what do I need, right?
Yeah.
I brought tonight a couple of different items. One is my Shadow and Spark bath salt, which is rooted in talking about your shadow side and what things you need to release. I have a collection with Sister Spell out in Canastota that is called the Dark Goddess Collection, which was built with intentionality. We specifically chose salts and herbs and crystals.
So this would be to take a bath with, right?
Yeah, to take a bath with.
So like, what do you put into something to like, what was the first one about sparking?
So like Shadow and Spark, for example.
Shadow and Spark.
This one is a salt base.
Yep.
And then I do a different combination with this one with pink salt and black Himalayan salt. And then all of the botanicals I dry at home. So this one has like cranberries and oranges. So I go to the store and source the most organic local stuff I can find in the season, and then dehydrate everything at home up to the standards, and then do the 2-week weight test, the whole thing, and source my herbs from organic apothecaries from around the country.
Wow.
If I can't find them at Peter's Cornucopia or at The Alchemist, or I can't find my stuff locally, I source domestically.
Yeah.
And then I find inspiration in different teachings, modalities, right? What herbs open up different things.
So like with, was it again spark?
This one is Shadow and Spark.
Shadow and Spark.
Yeah.
So everybody's, so like what did you put into it? Like what is your intention for the result to be when someone uses it? And what do you put in to make that happen?
So a lot of it is the being witchy part, right? The being a little bit more in tune with nature and in tune with the world.
And intuitive too, I think, is like part of that witchiness would be like an intuition and
it's
understanding.
Intuition and trying to feel, what do you need to ground yourself? And what roots yourself, meaning that if you're looking for something to help physically open you up in like your sinus region, you're not going to choose a chamomile. You're going to go through more of a eucalyptus or a peppermint, right? You figure out what feels good for your body too.
Right.
And some things feel different for different people. And I think that the intentionality comes from, what do I want to use?
Right.
And what would I feel comfortable putting out there?
Right.
And there are things that I'm asked to make that I will say yes to, and there are things I'm like, I'm not okay with that. And part of the intentionality of being a creator and a maker is figuring out, what do you want to put out in the world?
Because it kind of has an effect on your soul, whatever you're going to do. And what a common thread I hear, like both of you, is just how much like work goes into like being able to do whatever you're trying to do, like understanding a language and like how much time.
I find it very cathartic.
How so?
In fact, I named one of my creatures from my blog, moronicarts.com. It's moronic arts with an S.
Moronic arts with an S?
.com. One of my characters, her name is Carla. She's a shape-shifting humanoid turkey vulture.
Wow.
And the scientific name for turkey vulture is Cathartes aura. I thought, how fitting.
Interesting.
I find creating these creatures, creating these stories, my horror comedy is cathartic. And creating in general is cathartic.
Why do you think that the word catharsis comes from a turkey vulture?
If it's in the scientific name, I think it means like golden purifier or something like that. And I think being able to purify yourself by creating is gold.
And in a way, like what a turkey vulture does, it picks over the dead
nature's
bodies,
janitors.
but it cleans things up. It
Cleans
really
things
does.
up, and I think I've been working on myself and cleaning up, and trying to cleanse my palate. Is that the right term?
Right, it is the right term. Yeah, right. And oftentimes, this kind of work and actually using those kind of things, it does cleanse you in a way, and that's important so that you can heal and deal with stuff.
Absolutely, everyone needs their own ritual. At the end of the day, we said it a couple times. The world is heavy. Right. The world is also joyful. But so, how do you, when you return to your safety, get rid of it or hold on to it?
Yeah.
How do you retain that glowy, warm feeling you get when you're doing a radio show and you're in the moment and you're creating flow, and then you go back to isolation?
Exactly.
But also, how do you muck it off?
Right.
So some people find water. I tell my kids, water heals everything. You're in a bad mood, get in the shower.
Yep.
I love my showers.
Wash your face.
I always read that in New Age stuff that water has the ability to do
water
that.
is relaxing. I've always been a swimmer.
Really?
I love to swim. And that's a Welsh thing too.
It is.
The Welsh word for swimming is novio. So
Oh,
Mahi
wow.
novio means she's swimming.
Why is that an important part of Welsh culture?
I think because like 3/4 of Wales is surrounded by water,
Oh, I
so
guess
there's a
that
lot
makes
of
sense.
coast.
Yeah,
A lot of people swim there, and
Right.
Pwll novio is swimming pool in Welsh.
Interesting.
Water,
Wow.
you're absolutely right. Water is so healing. Just not just drinking, but bathing in it or taking a shower. As you said, a hot shower at the night. That's what I look forward to. You know?
Right.
Exactly.
So many cultures have water as healing,
Yeah,
right?
right.
I mean, we live not very far from Saratoga Springs. If we think about
True.
that and just the
Yes.
history of that regionally.
We used to have more of an appreciation for like water with salts, like the Saratoga Springs. I live in Westmoreland by the Spring Woods, where the water unfortunately is so bad that it like eats through our pipes. But it was once known for its healing properties, and like it was the Spring Woods because there was a spring. And like, is there something about like? Do you think there's something about like in terms of like the legacy, the generational thing about just coming back to like using fabric, but also like using salt or using whatever you use to make your other stuff?
Absolutely. I think that the intergenerationality is figuring out how to preserve that moving forward.
Yeah.
Right? In terms of, I make strawberry jam every summer. And I take a day off and I go pick the berries in Candela's fields by myself because it's a thing. And I make the jam just like my grandmother, my mother did, and I gift it. I will never sell it.
Nice.
So I take that in a different way though, where this Valentine's Day in Candela's is under snow. So I got some berries at Bargain Grocer and dried them, and I made a Valentine's line with it.
Oh, wow.
Right? So finding different ways to incorporate that history through and honor those traditions, because I think that this is where this is my family hobby.
Yeah.
Right. My husband gets excited when he can find botanicals that I need.
Right.
My kids get excited when they help with the packaging and stick the labels on.
Yeah.
Right. And my son gets excited on how to learn to be an entrepreneur.
Right. The business side of things. Right. Now, one difference between the two of you is like, Emily, your stuff is very hands-on. Like you touch the stuff, you can like take a bath and stuff. Like you mix the stuff together. Jen, your stuff is more like me, more of a virtual stuff. Like you do a lot of work in your head, writing a blog, making your show. So do you ever miss like and I wonder like if I miss at times like actually making stuff with my hands.
I do make things with my hands. I draw my cartoons.
Oh, you draw the cartoons with your hands?
Cartoons.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I draw my cartoons.
So you kind of touch base with that like primal.
Yes, it's very cathartic as well. It relieves my anxiety drawing my characters, my creatures, my humans, my humanoids. I love to draw.
What do they express? You can't express through your videos or through Welsh language?
It's a totally different realm. In fact, I call it the Moroniverse.
Okay.
It's moronicarts.com. It's all a theme. The things that I've been through that I don't want to talk about.
Right.
The things that I've been through, I express through my characters. Yes. A lot of my characters lack empathy, and empathy is a strong point. People fail to realize that empathy is a strength, not a weakness.
What is empathy?
Empathy is being able to put yourself in somebody else's shoes.
Why is that a strength?
It's a strength because it's being able to help somebody when they're down, or even just when somebody's saying, hey, this guy rejected me, I feel horrible, and I could say to this person, hey, I'm sorry you're going through that, and that might be all they need.
Right.
We need each other. People need people. And I think I'd like to see more people see the commonalities in each other instead of the differences, and that's as a spiritual person, that's what I believe in. Find each other's commonalities and work together. And I think that's how we will work towards peace.
Yeah, I think so many problems can be solved if people were more empathetic too.
Yeah, I think that the lack of empathy is a huge problem, especially right now in these times that are not normal. And I'm trying to actually explain through my stories. I mean, characters always get their comeuppance. There's no heroes. There's all there's villains, and then there's like standbys, and then just like small like NPCs.
Tell people one more time, like how to see your blog.
My blog is at moronicarts.com. It's like martial arts, but it's moronicarts.com.
Yeah, I would think with Emily, like with your work too, like you are able to like. I'm curious, like how she tells stories through cartoons, through her study of Welsh. You're really telling stories too. Like there's really no way to make a quilt without telling the story.
Absolutely.
What are some of the stories that you're telling?
So right now, I think I'm looking at finding ways to tell stories of taking care of ourselves.
Yeah.
Right. Those micro indulgences that we might have.
Right. I like that word, micro indulgences.
Right. The micro things, because I try really hard.
Too.
Yeah, they're really important. But Yes, there is value in my work, and when I first did research, some of the hats at some festivals around the country are going for over $100. And my thing is, yes, if I really did out the time, an average queen size quilt would cost me probably $1,200 to $1,500 in labor and materials and time and all of that, right?
Yeah, right.
But that's not the goal of this. The goal of this is to share that. So I try to keep things very reasonable because this is not my full-time gig. This is what I get to do for fun.
Yep.
So that there are these micro moments. So, if you, and I understand that water is a privilege. So maybe you don't have a bathtub.
Yeah.
So let's do a
Time
foot
is
soak.
a privilege.
Let's do a simmer pot. I have a collection of snow-dyed zip pouches that have different affirmation statements. So I brought one that says like, I am worthy.
I love that.
Oh, that's
I have like
nice.
book pouches for your Kindles, right? Those little things that you have.
Yeah.
Those things to care for ourselves.
Right.
So, and that's part of the joy of it, right?
I think I would imagine for someone who like works as much as you do, for someone as busy as you are too, Jen, as busy as me, and like sometimes those micro indulgences are really all that you get.
It is, but it's that way to find like moments of softness for ourselves.
Yeah.
So
and like to like really just like to be happy for a minute and just like, I think
self-care is important, and it's okay to take care of yourself.
Absolutely,
but being able to say to yourself, like, hey, I'm shoving my work shoes into my bag in the snow so I can wear my boots, right? I can like get myself something to protect those. I'm worthy of that. Those little bits of acknowledging ourselves, I think, is part of it. And with that, I think you mentioned it's the sharing of community. I'm very fortunate. Utica is bustling, right?
It really is. And like for arts and stuff like you're doing, for all this stuff, like Utica, what I'm finding through the show, it's like an amazing place for talent, creativity, and just people doing amazing stuff. Do you feel like your own like witchy powers or intuition or natural abilities are getting stronger by doing this stuff?
I think being around people in community, it's different. Meaning that I went through the Thinkubator refinery program in the fall.
I like that too. I was just down there to do starting on the Latino Association event.
So Ryan Miller does fantastic work over there, and we went through, and I'm building a photography business on the side.
Wow,
and
that too.
So it's a whole other thing. And when this all came up, he was like, "What are you gonna do when Halloween's over?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I'm gonna figure it out." Right? And I went to Success Circle.
I never thought about that.
A couple times, and from there it was. I was driving back one night and said, I really want to take a bath. I haven't taken a good salty bath since I was pregnant, and I had like muscle cramps and needed it. And
oh, it helps with that?
It does, the magnesium and all that stuff, right?
Oh, really? I didn't know.
When you grow humans, your body changes a lot.
It must be a bit of a strain,
So with that, it came from this like, oh, if I need it, maybe somebody else does.
Because I was thinking about like your stuff. I don't even think of it as like Halloween stuff because like magic is something we need to, all year long, and like all this stuff is like, and really magic and that kind of stuff is popular all year long. We had the Happy Hags dance troupe on here.
I love them.
I do. I met Hazel Hag this weekend.
I love
We're working on a custom hat together. Like,
oh my God, I love the Happy Hags. We're gonna get them back on the show.
It is joy.
They're fun.
It is.
For me, every day is Halloween.
Right. And like all this stuff we're doing and talking about tonight, it's like life. It's like being alive. It makes you feel better.
And ghosts are just people.
Exactly. Nothing to be afraid of.
Ghosts are just people. They don't change much after they're not corporal anymore.
I like that philosophy. So, Emily, like, where can people buy all this stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So the stuff. So I am the Quilty Witch on Facebook. I have an eBay storefront. I'm at The Alchemist, which is currently relocating, so stay tuned to
Yes,
social.
we're going to tell you when that relocates, because we're huge fans of The Alchemist and Mackenzie, and we want to give her, we want to help her out when she gets
Absolutely, so we're excited to start back up there. I'm at the Nook in Amsterdam and Sister Spell, and I'm working on an in-person event with Recycling in Style. We're going to do a build-your-own bath salt bar.
Oh my gosh! Well, send me
community.
information about that because that would make a really cool story.
Absolutely. So we're going to talk about how do we do this for ourselves, and how do we bring a friend with us and build some community at the same time.
I would love to do a story on that. Would be, so you got to let me know about
Absolutely.
that.
And
all right. So people can buy your stuff. Oh yeah, tell me more.
So last thing is my biggest new exciting part is I'm prepping for this summer for the Madison County Psychic Festival in August.
Oh, that sounds cool too.
2-day in person, but not in the freezing cold.
Oh my gosh.
So
like right now, the best place to get your stuff is like someone's hearing this is eBay.
Probably to go on my Facebook page, the Quilty Witch, and send me a message.
Is it quilted or quilt?
The Quilty. Quilty.
Quilty Witch. Okay, so I have her answer. The Quilty Witch on Facebook. That's where you can find all this cool stuff. And you are on YouTube, Jen.
Curious About Welsh. Sorry, Curious About Welsh with JenX, which is spelled JenX.
JenX.
And YouTube might try to turn it into Jinx, but I don't want to be Jinx and I don't want you to be Jinx. So just type in JenX.
And moronicarts.com.
And moronicarts.com, home of the Moroniverse. Over 600 short stories.
Wow. Well, you guys have been great guests. What a great conversation.
Thank you for having us.
I'm happy to have you here. We're talking today with artist, writer, entertainer JenX, who created the YouTube series Curious About Welsh, and Emily Hansen, who's a Quilty Witch. She specializes in handmade quilted textiles, herbal bath and home products designed to infuse everyday life with comfort, beauty, and a touch of ritual. I want to thank both of you for joining us here in the 95.5 FM The Heat studios. And thank you all for tuning in tonight. We're going to have this episode of Hot Seat Media Monday, streaming Wednesday at 9 p.m. at uticaphoenix.net/Media Monday. Of course, on my Facebook page and all that stuff. Our sound engineer is Jonathan Brooks. He's DJ J Easy. He's up next with the Easy Ride Home. Jim Hale records the show for YouTube and podcast. And he's our AI content producer. Stefan Rubitsky, Nabil Khan, Lily Christopher, and Nick Phillips are our associate producers. And I'm your host, Ron Kloffenstein. I'll be back next week with another Hot Seat Media Monday. This is Ron Kloffenstein. Meet me in the Hot Seat every Monday at 5 p.m. for Hot Seat Media Mondays on 95.5 FM The Heat.